you.
So this is actually a part 3 of a 3-part series called New Tools for Releasing Tangled Agreements. And the first 2 calls were around clearing things that bind you in a way that you feel hopeless. And today's call is around things that bind you that feel impossible to change. And that's how I've kind of noted what the frequency difference is between these things. These are things that just, like, they just clearly feel impossible. These will never change. And in this case, they're actually easier to change than the other ones are, which is quite fascinating. But it is a matter of knowing kind of what the makeup is of these different things, and that's what I want to share with you today. I'd like to start by doing an expanding, because what if as you expand into more of the infinite being of who you are, you have a greater access to your information and your connection with all that is and you. So allow yourself to find the outer edges of your energy field, and allow yourself to expand to the size of the solar system across all time, space, dimensions, realities, beyonds, size of the solar system. And then allow yourself to expand to the size of the galaxy. And you don't need to know how big it is, you just intend to go that big, and it goes that way. And then allow yourself to expand to the size of, let's say the universe. There you go. And allow yourself to expand to the size of the multiverse, all the multiple universes across all time, space, dimensions, realities, beyonds. And then expand to something that I call the Beyondiverse, which is this made-up word that actually Rosie came up with for expanding beyond all that and beyond all that and beyond all that and beyond all that. So just keep expanding beyond that and beyond that and beyond all the known and beyond all the known and beyond all the known. And check in and see if you feel like you're not expanding. Check in and see if you're referencing old star charts or old star maps, or whether you're actually connecting with what is real and true out there right now. Because if you're connecting to old star charts and stuff, it's never going to be different, and it'll never feel particularly expanded. It'll always feel the same as it always does. I've noticed some people, they're referencing old places, but it's not actually really what's out there right now. So when you get to this Beyondiverse space, what if this is you in the space of your infinite being? Just kind of hanging out there and all it is, one with everything. And what if that generates much more ease in your universe just because you're not as compressed, and all the resources that you normally had available to you are now available again. So that's the invitation, is to anytime that you feel bound up or anything, to actually just do expanding. So how I found this particular thing, the topic today is around what I call bonded contracts, secured agreements, or curses. And I'll use these words interchangeably just because there's a lot of, just because I do. I don't need a reason, I just do. And how I found this is I had some issues that seemed like they locked every area of my life down into one contracted place. And I couldn't clear my way out of it no matter what I did. And I have a zillion tools and nothing seemed to work, or it worked temporarily, or I'd clear and it felt like things were shooting back at me. And I'm like, okay, that's different. And so what I noticed is I started to ask myself questions, or ask the universe questions about, like, what is this stuff? What is locking this down? And one day I was in a particularly good space in the shower, and I actually do a lot of clearing in the shower. And I have me and water like get well really together. We get along together is probably a better way to say that. And it's like I have more access to awareness when I'm in the shower or when I'm with water. And so, anyway, sidetrack. I was in the shower and I asked, so what is locking this down? And I began faintly to see these symbols. And these are kind of representations. If you are on visuals, you can see. I've got this, like, some were like file folders, some were like chests, of like locked boxes of some kind. There were safes. There were these gun-looking, nasty-looking thing. And then there were these mysterious things that I couldn't quite figure out what they were. But this was my consciousness's way of interpreting the information that was there. So when you ask questions, and you don't necessarily have these same symbols, so you get whatever symbols you get. So don't get attached to what they look like. This is just what they look like for me, and it's how my consciousness represents what's actually. It gives me information. That's just how I get it. So the other thing that I noticed is that there were certain energies behind them, and I had some energies that just felt like they were just like this librarian kind of energy or this clerical energy. Some were these a little bit more unhappy, unfriendly energies that were still kind of clerical, but they were more bouncer-like. And then I had more of like a undercover agent, definitely not a happy energy. And then I had some other things that were more creatures or just like I want to pummel you unconscious. And then there were others that were just like, I couldn't quite figure out what it was at all, but there was something there. And so you may get it in all different ways when you start asking questions about this. And again, it doesn't matter how you get that. But what I found was that bonded contracts or secured agreements, or what in the vernacular they call curses, what if they're contracts that are upheld by a third party? So it's kind of like, as an infinite being or as a being of light, what if we're not really good at being consistent about anything? We like to bounce around and do all these different things, yet this world or certain places demand or require or persistently keep wanting you to be consistent about things. And so one of the ways that you can be more consistent about things is to generate an agreement. Now you can do those internally, where you say, okay, I will do this from now on. I will always do this. I will always do this. I will always do this. And you remember as a kid, you probably found yourself doing that a lot. Like you'd get yelled at for something that you didn't know why, but whatever. Like, okay, fine, I won't do that, whatever that is. I won't do that. I remember that as a kid. But those are like just your agreements with you. And sometimes you can make those agreements with, or you can also make those agreements with other people. If you find yourself in a place where you keep breaking your agreements, you can bring in a third party who is like an agreement holder who won't let you accidentally let go of your agreement. So if you create agreement with you or another person and you keep accidentally clearing it, which is actually amazingly easy to do. Once you start to see how all this works, you're like, wow, it's amazing we can actually hold on to anything. But these are the little tools and techniques we use to hold on to things, so let's undo them. So what you do is you have a third party who becomes the holder of the contract. And like they're the ones that hold it, so you can't release it. You have to go to a third party and ask them to release the contract on your behalf. So it's somebody holding the contract on your behalf. That's why there are some things that just don't release easy, or that it seems like, oh, this isn't going to go away, because there's somebody else holding on to that contract for you. You can think of it as a title company, a mortgage company, whatever, but you require a third party in order to actually do it. And I want to say at the bottom of this, I've got a link. It's not a link, you can't click on it, so it doesn't do any good. But I want to just point out, it's my memory jogger, that if you haven't been to my website, if you go to my website and you go to the articles section, there's an article called Secured Agreements. And I'll send a link after this program so you have access to it. And I'll send you the PDF that has this document. I have all this actually in more detail than I have here today. So you have it in a written form if you'd like it. So I will send that to you. So the different categories, and I want to explain these categories so you get a sense of the energies of them. Not that it's required to know these, but I don't know, I like doing it, so I'm going to do it. So there. So public agreements. There are ones that are, it's kind of like going to a library or a DMV or someplace where they manage documents. They have procedures for managing information. And so you would create an agreement and you would hand it to them, and then they would store it away in their file system. And that agreement is in effect, and you can't actually let it go until you go to that clerk or that file system, or you find the way to release these, and basically say, okay, I'm ready to release it, and they go, okay, here it is. Like, there's a certain condition that's in the agreement that says, when you meet this condition, we will release the document for you. The public ones are very easy. They're very simple. But I'd like you to tap in and notice, so how many public agreements, contracts, or curses do you have? Just allow yourself to perceive the volume of that. And if you're in a space where you get a number, see what number comes up. My number was in like tens of thousands when I first started doing this. It was huge. I was really surprised. Anybody have a number? I don't know if there's anybody still unmuted, but anybody have a number of how many you have?
I got 50,000.
Only 50,000. Hey, all right. Cool. Anybody else?
75,000.
Cool. Anybody else?
This is Sherry, and I'm embarrassed to say I got 4 million.
Hey, congratulations. 4 million. Nice.
Isn't that awesome?
It is. It's so cool.
Awesome.
It's so cool. Cool. Who else?
I only got 10.
That's cool. That's cool. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem. There's a lot of other different categories, so don't feel left out. And let me unmute. Oh, Tony, you just went away. And anybody else have something? And Ananda, you're unmuted. Okay, so I'll go on to the next.
Mine was.
Oh, I hear somebody now. Tanya,
that was me.
Yeah, if you could mute yourself there.
You want me to?
So the next category. Whoops, I went in the wrong direction. Are what I call bonded agreements. Bonded agreements are a little bit more heavy duty than just public agreements. They're something that like is more formal. They're more structured. There's generally an agency that holds them, and usually they're basically wanting to be paid. It can be like a title company or like a storage facilities place where like you're storing stuff there, in this case agreements, and then in order to get your agreements back, you have to pay them the interest or whatever you said you would pay them, and they then give you those back, and then you can clear them. So these range from a simple clerical to a fairly unfriendly individual who doesn't exactly, is not necessarily very happy. But so the energy is a little bit, it has this sense of security about it. And like there's some hoops you got to jump through here. It's kind of like going to a DMV or a bank or something like that. There's a sense of like control that's built into the structure there. So allow yourself to perceive how many bonded agreements, contracts, or curses do you have? Across all time, space, dimensions, realities, beyond.
Well, 2 million.
2 million. Awesome. Who else got something?
Well, I just got 78.
Cool. Cool. Who else got something?
126,521.
Cool. Very precise. Thank you. Anybody else have something? And again, this is actually just all for amusement. You can actually use this information, go in and clear, and then see how many more you have, and then go back in and clear, and see how many more you have, and go back in and clear. And I've totally done that. And you can also grab them in a bigger way, and I'll show you, like, it actually gets very simple When I first did this, I did them one at a time, and it took me a long time, and I just kept doing them one at a time. And over time, I found faster and faster ways of doing it. What I'm going to teach you today is actually doing them a lot at a time, actually as many at a time as you want. It's actually kind of cool now. The next category is what I call enforced or guarded agreements. These are probably the ones that are more in your consciousness, because when you go to inadvertently or even deliberately go clear them, there's somebody who comes, knocks on your door and says, "You can't clear that." Or you get this energy of somebody who's not a very happy being, or is bouncer, kind of forceful. There's an authoritarian, ominous, sometimes punitive energy behind them, and they're like, "No, you cannot release that." And you're like, "Oh, okay, what was that?" Well, that's what these are. They're called enforced or guarded agreements. And basically, think of it as this is somebody you've hired because you may have had public agreements and you kept going back to the library and going, "Look, I want that back," and you kept clearing it, and then whomever you had that agreement with got mad at you, and you went back and you created more agreements. So like you escalate the agreements, or some things may have demanded from you a stronger agreement. So if you entered some certain church, cult, religion, organization that had this intense secrecy program, you probably had enforced, guarded, or other. If you entered just like a public something or other, you probably had a very simple agreement. Like marriage vows, if you think about it, when you go to the clerk and you register a marriage license, that's an agreement. That's a perfect example of a security secured agreement, and you can have public ones or you can have whatever. But so if you think about these beings as beings you've hired to remind you that you said you would hold on to this, that shifts everything. Because if you're holding the point of view that you're a victim here, then you can't actually change it. You're kind of stuck. Rosie, there's noise coming from your end of the woods there. If you could mute yourself, please. So when you bump into this kind of energy, or when you try to clear something and something comes back at you and says, "No, you can't," it's probably one of these. So how many enforced or guarded agreements, contracts, courses do you have? Hey, thanks for flushing the toilet there. All right.
How appropriate is that?
We're just flushing these agreements today. So, Truth, how many enforced or guarded agreements do you have?
Million.
I got a scary 10.
A scary 10. All right.
I'm getting a million.
A million. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Who else?
I get 30, and they're very strong.
30 and they're what?
Very strong.
Very strong.
Heavy.
Yes, that's what they feel like. They're enforced. It's that energy of they're enforced. That's actually where I came up with these words. These words are just kind of putting names to the energies of what I experienced when I connected with them. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So the second to last category is the next one. It's called armored agreements. And these can range from a nasty person to like military, or actually the symbol that I have on the right, if you're on video, I actually saw this thing that looked like a bunker with a cannon barrel sticking out of it. And if I went to try to clear something from there, it fired things at me. And they were like this energy thing, and it was clearly like, do not touch this. These are probably agreements that you had kept bashing your way out of in other ways. These are agreements that you cannot force your way out of. These are beyond the use of force. And this is actually how I learned the technique that I'm going to teach you today, is because force didn't work. I needed to find a different way. I could not clear my way out of it. I couldn't force it in any way, shape, or form, or it kept firing projectiles at me. Some of them shot like these energetic daggers at me, or projectiles, or I could experience these energies being shot at me. Sometimes I could dodge them, but regardless, it was very clear, you do not touch these or we will hurt you. So this is the energy of the armored agreements. So allow yourself to perceive truth. How many armored agreements, contracts, curses do you have across all time, space, dimensions, realities, beyonds? Okay, so somebody is on the phone making a lot of noise. So if you're on a telephone and you're making noise, could you mute yourself, please? So how many armored agreements does anybody have a number?
I got 2.
2?
Yes.
Cool. What else?
2,507.
70,000.
Wow. Big numbers. Cool. Anybody else? And again, these numbers are just for amusement. They really don't mean anything
2,000.
on some level. 2,000? Nice. And it also, what's interesting is if you have problems getting the numbers, depending on how you look at it, the numbers can vary. Like if you look at it one way, you can get one number, and then if you include parallel realities, that number can exponentialize almost immediately. So like depending on how you look at it, you get different numbers. So we don't get too attached to the numbers. It's more for amusement than anything else. But so then the last one are what I call magical agreements or magical curses. When I bumped into these, they felt like this mysterious, like vapor trail or something that was in an illusion or in hiding. And most times it just showed up as like this trail of smoke. And when I went into the history of bonded agreements and curses and stuff, and I pulled out the information for that article, I found that these are kind of like, they're, depending on who you talk to, out there and all that is, can be referred to as the Cadillac of curses because they are easily hid. They can work around problems that nothing else, like if you can defeat any of the other curses, you can totally create magical curses that you cannot work around because the magic can be custom designed to your capacities so that you can't actually use your capacities on it. They don't know about all your capacities, maybe, or whatever, I don't know, but it doesn't mean you can't undo them. It's just they're very precise. They're usually more expensive, and what I found very cool about them is when you release them, the magician or the magic house that actually authored it, their logo kind of shows up, or that's how I get it in my reality. That picture on the right is close to one of the logos that I used to see, and I see different ones, snakes in fire and like all. They're just really cool. I'm like, whoa, okay. And you may or may not get those, and it really doesn't matter. That was when I was taking them apart one by one. We're not going to do them one by one, but if you ever want to poke around, go for it. We're going to do as many as we can because you start to see the numbers of these. You go, look, I'm not going to do these one at a time. How many can I do at one time? So, but if you're ever interested, that's more about that. So, Truth, how many magical agreements, contracts, curses do you have?
I got 5 million.
Yeah?
Again, yeah, millions.
Yeah? Yeah?
35,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
55,000.
Cool. And a lot of you, I was tracking as you were saying, if you're having really big numbers, I'm going to ask you the question, are you including all the parallel reality versions? Or something else?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got the feeling that those kind of agreements would be the only ones I would be able to follow it had to be hidden from me. That's all.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I'm including or what I'm including.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. You may have found a way just to defeat all the others, so these are the only ones that worked for you. You know, it's like whatever, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. But if you get large numbers, chances are you might be doing parallel realities, and those you can get it in one, and it usually echoes out across all of them. So it's actually not that big a number. Anyway, so here's the general process for releasing secret agreements. So normal clearing in the way that like Access Consciousness does it, or some of the other groups that have clearing procedures, you're using some externally programmed tool to support you in releasing things. So you're not so much doing it from inside, you're accessing something from the outside. And you're usually using more of a destroy and uncreate concept. So these actually are more of a feminine energy. It's more of a feminine clearing, and you're using your internal consciousness. And so the difference here is, like for instance, when you use a clearing tool, what if a clearing tool is something to support you in times when you're feeling less potent and less empowered personally, and that tool is actually not required to clear? What if letting go is actually what's involved in clearing? And what do I have to let go of? I usually have a piece of fabric. I don't have a piece of fabric. What can I drop here? Like if I have this piece of paper here, like letting go is as simple as letting go, right? I just open my hand and it falls. It just does that. It like letting go is actually an extraordinarily simple process. What if at its core, everything in terms of letting go is just I choose to let this go, and then I let it go. It just does that. We use clearing statements and things to assist us in remembering that we have the capacity to let things go. But the further I go through this, the more I realize I don't need a clearing statement in order to clear it. And I'm not saying don't use clearing statement. I use them all the time. I use them all the time. But I notice more and more, like I just intend, I'm just going to let that go, and boop, that shifts. And I didn't have to say any statement. I didn't have to do any fancy process. I simply intended to let it go. So it's not a wrongness to be using a clearing statement. It's just to recognize that it's a tool that supports you in doing what you do naturally in letting go. And it can do some other things for you as well. So they're valuable, and again, I still use them. But so I want to introduce you to another form of clearing today that involves using feminine energy and your infinite being perspective. So you mix these two things together, and it's amazing the magic you can do. And so I got these three symbols here. Basically, the three steps are you're going to expand, you're going to perceive what's required and collect those energies up, and then you're going to hand them over. So basically what you have is you have these contracts, and I'm going to turn this off here. No, actually, how do I want to do this? I'm going to turn this off. So you have these contracts, and these contracts are for whatever they are. So let me show it to you in a big sense. So allow yourself to perceive all of the bonded agreements, curses that you have across all time, space, dimensions, realities. All of them. And I'd like to have you, in front of you, imagine that you've got a big screen. And put them all up on the screen, in the center of the screen, so that you can perceive them all. And they're just symbols, or however they show up. It absolutely doesn't matter. It's just information. And get a sense of approximate quantity of symbols that you have on the screen. Okay? And if you don't get any numbers, don't sweat over it. If you can't see anything, don't sweat over it. It absolutely doesn't matter. I do this for my amusement. That's it. It's for my amusement. But the process still works. It doesn't matter whether you can see it or not. So don't get hung up on any of that. So you've put all of those contracts up on the screen. They're all there, and some of them, especially the magical ones, will keep wanting to slip off the screen. You find things just keep wanting to sneak off the screen. So what I do is I put them there and I say stay. And my intention is just they're going to stay on the screen, and that's it. And I don't need to wrestle with them. They're just going to stay on the screen. So here's the first step. Or the first step, put them on the screen. Second step, expand out to the Beyondiverse. Actually, let me step you out. Expand out to the universe and the multiverse, all the multiple universes, and the Beyondiverse. And beyond that, beyond that, beyond that, beyond that, beyond that, beyond that. So from this space, what if you have access to all energy, information, and everything? Like it's all right there. Like you are in the space of all. So anything that these agreements require is right here. Like you don't need to do anything special. You don't need to do anything fancy. So allow yourself to perceive all the agreements on the screen and everything that those agreements require. And now, from this space of being in the Beyondiverse, just call up all those energies. Everything these agreements desire, require, I call all these up now, and just bring all that energy up. Just invite that energy to come out in front of you so you can perceive it. And it's kind of like I'm just coalescing or collecting that energy in front of me. So these are the keys, the lock, the keys, the payment, the restitution, the information, whatever those contracts have called for. This is it. It's just stuff. It's just energy. We don't need anything fancy. It's just stuff. It's just information. So I'm going to ask all those energies to amplify themselves times a godzillion, or to amplify themselves to whatever is required. And I don't do it. I ask those energies to amplify, and the energies do that themselves. And then I ask those energies to frequency match to where they're going, to who the recipient is, who the agreement holder is of that. And then you're going to take those energies. Please answer your phone. You're going to take those energies, and then you're going to gift them to these contracts. So if you force them at the contract, the armored contracts are going to shoot at you. if you force them at those contracts that are the ones with the big nasty guys, they're gonna come and knock on your head. So like, think of it as like you're going to the DMV or something, and you're going to have all your paperwork, you're going to have everything that's required, and you're going to be very polite, and you're going to be very respectful, and you're just going to hand it to them, and you're going to say, "Here you are, thank you very much." They have done a job. Whether you're happy with the DMV or whether you're happy with this department or not, doesn't matter. They're doing a job, and you're providing them the terms of the agreement that you agreed to. So that's how you interact with the energies. That's what circumvents all the weird garbage, is that being in that energy of, I'm grateful for your service, here you are, here's what you require, thank you for your service. Okay? And so let's do this again. I usually do this 3, maybe 4 times. So expand out, allow yourself to perceive everything that these contracts desire or require. Collect all that up. Ask those energies to amplify themselves times a godzillion. Wow. And then frequency match them for whomever they're going to be going to. And then hand them over to those contracts, those symbols you have on the screen, and thank you very much. Wow. Wow. And sometimes as we're going along on the second or third of these, you can actually see, or this is how I perceive it, like symbols either dropping off the screen. Sometimes I hear the sound of them kind of falling. Other times they just vanish, or they go up in smoke. The magical ones do all kinds, like whatever. They do different things if you can see them. You may get information that way, or you may not, doesn't matter. Or you can feel the volume of them starts to change, or something shifts, whatever. Allow yourself to perceive what's going on, but don't be attached to what that looks like. It's just information, and the more you get used to that, you'll realize your consciousness gives you all kinds of information, feedback about what you're doing. Again, expand out. Allow yourself to perceive everything that these contracts desire, require, everything that's remaining. Bring all those energies together. Ask those energies to amplify themselves to whatever's appropriate. And then ask those energies to frequency match to the recipients, and then hand them over. Thank you very much. Whoa. Wow. And allow yourself to perceive if they're shifting, like however you perceive. Just notice how you're perceiving what happens after you hand over the energy. That's feedback to let you know what's going on. And because I've been jabbering through this, I'm going to do this one more time. Again, anything that's remaining, these contracts desire, require, allow yourself to grab all that information and ask that information to amplify, frequency match, and hand it over. Thank you very much. There you go. So there's two possible ways that I found so far. There may be more, but that I found in terms of receiving. There are some things that the contracts require to receive, and there are some contracts that require you to be a certain frequency in order for that contract to be released. In other words, some energies that you desire or require to embody in order to release that those contracts. So some contracts haven't left. Go back up to the screen and allow yourself to perceive how many contracts are remaining. Okay? And sometimes I'll ask if they require something from me, but in this case, let me show you what this is like. So all the ones that are left on the screen. So we're going to go back out, expand to infinite being, to the Beyondiverse, and allow yourself to perceive everything that these contracts desire or require you to embody or be as the infinite being that you truly be in order for these contracts to be released. And just coalesce all those energies up in front of you. Ask those energies to be amplified times a godzillion, or to what's appropriate for you. Frequency match them for your body and your being. And bring them in and place them in your body and being. And I just bring them in and I put them wherever I feel drawn. And at this point, your primary focus is, I'm receiving these energies. So allow yourself to receive these energies. What if it's more of the infinite being of you? Just allow yourself to receive. You've spent eons resisting this energy, which makes that contract stay there. Try receiving. See what that does. See if it does something different. There you go. And again, expand out. Everything these contracts desire or require for you to embody, amplify it, frequency match it, and bring it into your body and your being. And receive. And I usually do it in 3 times, but sometimes more. But again, everything remaining that these contracts desire or require for you to embody, amplify that energy, frequency match it for your body and being, and bring it into your body and being, and receive. And now look back at your screen. Commonly at this point, it's clear, it's gone. If it isn't, you just go back and you do everything for somebody else again, and usually that clears it. But usually I do these two and it's clear. But just kind of play with that and see what it's like. But I'd love to hear feedback. What do you notice? How did that work for you?
I'm God. I just feel like I'm God.
Yeah. Yeah. So what if as an infinite being, it's really that simple? Like when you're a pathetic earth human and you can't do anything right, then it's like, I can't do anything right. And so you don't have access to all of this. But when you're out there as an infinite being and you see how this really works, what if it's really that simple? And what if it is very godlike?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else? Anybody else have feedback on how that was for them? What they experienced? Or if it didn't work for you? Any of those, let me hear something.
This is Sharon.
Hi.
Hi. They're gone. They're all gone. I didn't have all that many. I had like 10, 64, 4, 0, and 14 were my numbers, but so there weren't very many of them, but they're all gone. And I just noticed just like a sigh, a big sigh after each one.
Yeah.
After you did each one of them, it was just a releasing and a sigh. It was very easy. It's like, wow, they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Jaden, it's Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
I just perceiving the energy, and then at the end it was, I asked and it was 0, and then all of a sudden I saw 2 on the screen, and I asked, is it mine? And it was no, so I returned to senior.
I love it. That's so cool. That's so cool. Thank you for that. I never thought of that. That's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, Jaden, this is Max.
Hi, Max.
Yeah, that was really powerful and freeing when I was drawing the energies in, both for the first clearings and then the ones where I was clearing for myself. I actually had a little coughing fit for obviously some energies that were really hard for me to receive or I've been resisting.
Yeah.
And right now I just have a lot more lightness and peace in my world.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else like to share?
Jaden, it's Sherry.
Hi.
I just completely zoned out for a big chunk of that, which is
cool?
fun.
Yeah.
I love that. But what I just wanted to mention, it's like when I look at my screen, it's clear, but my eyes are almost like drawn to like the lower right. So there's an awareness that there's something there, but I can't see it.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Yes. So I had cleared the screen and I'm like, are they clear? And I'm like, and there's something I kept being drawn to the bottom of the screen. So I want to introduce you to below the screen. So allow yourself to perceive below the screen, in that space below the screen. And it's kind of
there's a lot there.
Dark and it's foggy and it's misty and it's spooky, scary, kind of ooh. And allow yourself it's all just interesting stuff. Allow yourself to imagine your screen. If you haven't done this, we're gonna do this, and I'll show you. This is you totally lead me right into the next piece I was going to talk about. Thank you. Go down below your screen and allow yourself to either perceive what's there or don't bother to perceive it. Just intend, I'm going to grab all the agreements that are hiding down there and grab all of those and bring those up to the center of the screen and lock them in the center of the screen so they stay there, because they will keep trying to slip down, or they often try to slip down. And what do you notice?
Jaden, it's Max.
Hi, Max.
Yeah, about how slippery they are.
Yes. This is where you need to use your intention. You go, boom, middle of the screen, stay there. And your intention holds them there. Sometimes I'll keep a piece of my awareness on them, almost as if I'm holding them with my hand, but I'm holding them energetically. Yeah, I'll just kind of energetically hold them on the screen. Yeah. Rosie, did you have something?
Well, it's very interesting because at the end, when we were making the contribution to our bodies, I realized that there were things in my body that weren't on the screen.
Yeah.
And so I put my body on the screen.
Oh, cool. I love it. That's cool. That's cool. So let's grab the bottom stuff, and let me work with that because it keeps wanting to slip down, so let's handle it. These are often, in my experience, these are the armored ones, or these are the ones that shoot at you. Like, that's how I noticed them first. Like, things were shooting at me from the bottom of the screen. I'm like, whoa, what is that? So, again, these... If they're not on the screen, sometimes we miss them. So put them on the screen, hold them in the center, and everything that these agreements, desire, require, allow yourself to perceive all of that. Gather all that up, amplify times a godzillion, frequency match it for these contracts, and very gingerly and very politely hand it to them like no quick moves. You're just very slow, just here you go. Thank you very much. And sometimes I'll perceive like the encasement comes off and just the agreement is there, or like whatever, it does different things. And again, expand out. And everything that these contracts, desire, require, allow yourself to bring all that information together. Amplify it times a godzillion, or ask it to amplify. Frequency match it for the recipients. And very gingerly, just thank you very much, here you are. And hand it over. There you go. I can feel the peace kind of emanating. And one last time, everything these agreements, desire, require, grab all those energies up, amplify, frequency match, and here you are. Thank you very much. Wow. There you go. Wow. Wow. And I always do it 3 times, pretty much, unless I'm doing one thing and it goes away earlier. But maybe sometimes 4. Do it again. Let's do it one more time. So for those who still require it, everything these desire, require, grab all that up, frequency amplify, frequency match, and here you are. Thank you very much. Wow. Nice.
Yeah, Jaden, I have a question on that.
Yes.
Yeah, so when I was doing it, it seemed to take me longer to do each of the steps. Okay. Is that something I can just, increase the speed, or I just do it at whatever?
Absolutely doesn't matter. I have done this so often and so much, and I do it so automatically that I probably am rushing it without being aware of it.
Okay, thanks.
So thank you for that feedback. Yeah. Yeah. I probably took much longer when I first did this. It also depends on like how much you're trying to track everything. So if you're not concerned about tracking it and you just are intending that this to be so, it can be I gather it up, amplify, frequency match, here you are. So it depends on how much you're tracking it and how you're interacting with it. So play with it in whatever way it feels light to you to play with. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. And then for these whatever's remaining on the screen, sometimes, often they shift in some way, like the armoring comes off or something happens to them, or they feel different. They don't feel the same anymore. But if anything is requiring for you to embody, allow yourself to perceive everything that you desire, or these contracts require you to be, know, perceive, or receive, to use Gary Douglas's phrase. And amplify those energies, frequency match them for you, bring them into your body and being. Wow. The peace that just emanated from this group was amazing, just from this one thing. It's just whoosh. And then again, everything that you are required to embody, grab those energies, amplify, frequency match Bring those in to your body and being. Receive. Wow. And one more time, everything that these agreements desire require you to embody, collect all those energies up, amplify them, frequency match them for you, and bring those in. And just receive that. Allow yourself to receive those energies. And when I first started doing this, and when I was first new to the whole concept of receiving energies, it took me a while to allow all of those energies to come in. Like it might take me hours to receive those energies. I'm very practiced at it now. I do it a lot. So I can bring them in almost instantaneously. So you may find that you'll take a while to digest those energies or to bring those in. Please don't try to think about any of this stuff. Don't put it into your brain. Don't expect awareness or thinking about this stuff, because you can jam. Like, what if your brain is a filtering mechanism that filters out the infinite? And here you're bringing piles of infinite and trying to jam it into your head. Does anybody find that they have a headache right now?
Yeah, me, it's not a headache. It's kind of heavy, Barbara. Here,
a pressure.
It's yeah.
Okay.
Pressure.
Okay.
Yeah,
so if you're ever doing receiving, and you find yourself having pressure in your head, you can try this and see if it works. You might be trying to force infinite information into a filtering system designed to eliminate infinite information. Just grab all the energies out of your head that are generating pressure, take them out, and put them in your heart or in your body. And see what that does. Did that shift anything?
Yeah.
Cool.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
I used to give myself headaches when I did receiving. So I had to find a way around that. I'm like, oh, this isn't working for me. And it didn't until I pulled it out of my head, put it in my heart, and I'm like, oh, this is really easy now. Why was I making it so hard before? Okay, cool. And Tony, I'm sorry, I had you muted. You're unmuted there now. How was that for anybody?
Thanks, Jaden. Sorry, I missed what you said about that.
Missed about what?
About I've got a headache, and I missed what you said, how to get it clear.
Oh.
Your voice kind of disappeared off.
Gotcha, thank you. So intend to grab the energies out of your head, lift them up energetically, and place them in your heart. Or in your body, in your solar plexus, wherever. I like to use my heart. It's just what I like to do, but you use any organ you like to, other than your brain. Cool.
Thank you. That's so much better. I do appreciate it. I'm very grateful.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Allow yourself again. So how is that with the armored or the stuff below the screen?
Hey, Jane, it's Max again.
Hi.
That was even more strong than the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The stuff below the screen is the intense stuff. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the content is more intense. It's that the agreement has been enforced more intensely. So often, like when you tap in, so allow yourself to imagine the screen and allow yourself to tap into that space under the screen. And notice the energy that's there. When you just instinctively, what energy do you get under there?
Yeah, it's really strong again.
There's an intensity there. What else do you get? What else do you feel down there?
Contraction.
Contraction? Yeah. Who else has something?
Mystical.
Mystical. So you likely have a lot of magical things hiding under there. What else? Like when I used to tap in, it was scary. Like, oh, it's scary. Oh, I shouldn't go there. Oh. Because there were these things that shot at me. And nasty beings that were not very friendly. And that's where they were hanging out. They were hiding in the shadows below my screen. And so like I didn't want to go down there. And it's all just, when you're an infinite being, it's all just fun and amusing. But just notice those frequencies, and like you can take them seriously, and you can take them as that's real and true, like fear is fear, or you can recognize, well, maybe fear is something else. Like maybe fear is excitement, or it's something else. And you could just kind of go, well, I'm just going to grab whatever's down there and put it up on the screen, whatever. So that's an interesting thing. So that is something that you can play with, and I want to show you then something else here. Let me switch my screen over, and let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. It actually worked, or it's thinking about working. There we go. It almost works. Is it cut off? No, there we go. Okay. So
it's on.
So there's another topic that I found that uses these exact same tools, and it took me a while to untangle these. And so what I do is primarily what I do for quote unquote a living is I'm a coach that helps people to untangle, and I'm an empowerment coach. I assist people into stepping into the potency that they be, and their gifts and their magic, and like just embodied that. And so the nature of who I am and what I do, I want to clear everything. I want it all gone. Everything, everything, everything. Whatever's in the way, I seem to have this capacity to perceive it, perceive what's going on, and then untangle it. And that's one of the reasons I've loved Access Consciousness so much, is it's given me so many tools to perceive and understand. I know understand's a dirty word, but to know what's going on. And inside, like, we know this stuff as infinite beings. We know this stuff, and so it just gave me the permission slip, as Bashar would say, the permission slip to re-embody the truth of me, and that's what I love to do with people. And one of the things that I found that tangled a lot of people down, a lot of people. If you have family stuff going on, if you have family that messes with you, or family that's in your face, or you feel like you're held back by family, or anything about DNA or lineage, or this stuff is passed down through the generations of my family, any of that kind of stuff, here we go. This is how you clear it. Or what if this is how you can clear it? Or release it, actually. Technically, it's releasing it. And again, it's using this feminine approach. It's using the exact same thing we did before, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. But this is just like, wow. What we're doing is we're not just setting you free. We're setting everybody who's connected on that chain. So allow yourself to perceive all of your lineage agreements, all of the agreements that you have that bind you to families or generations. They can be generational agreements, intergenerational agreements. I call them lineage agreements. Just allow yourself to perceive them, whatever they are. And in my reality, they show up as almost like I'm looking up at a spider web, and I see all these different cords. And all the different families. Like if I focus on one family, I see like one cord, and I can see all the different people hanging or attached to that cord. So it's kind of like Christmas lights, like a string of Christmas lights with like each of the Christmas lights is one of those people hanging by that lineage chain or that agreement that binds them together. And the understanding that I have, wow, okay, I'm going to let y'all integrate that. And all of the, I'm going to use an access consciousness component here. So all of the Shikyu, stupidity, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, and energy fog that you have around these lineage agreements, everything that clouds your awareness of what is real and true for you, can we just let go of all that? Yeah. And I want to just show you, like, even without the clearing, just let it go. Just intend, I let that go. Wow. And allow yourself to just perceive what is real and true for you. Wow. Wow. So what I'm feeling right now from the collective group here is this immense heaviness, which is usually what lineage agreements seem to connect you to. It's like, what if, like in my reality, these showed up as like anchors that were all tied on this huge chain that I was bound to. And like, I couldn't go any further than I could take this chain. It was like a chain gang. That's actually energetically how I perceive a family or a lineage. And the story I have, and let me do we clear first? Let me clear first. So allow yourself to perceive all the chains that you would like to release. And so basically how this works, or in my awareness of how this works, so this is my interesting point of view, see what's true for you, is that these families got together to explore a certain topic. Like you've heard the thing that the sins of the father shall be, what is it in the Bible? The sins of the father should be delivered upon the 7 generations, or I don't know, there's something like that. But it's basically saying that some being says, you know, here's something and I'd like to explore this. So let me give an example. They explore, so actually tell you what, let's just let those lineage agreements go for a moment. Just like put them back or let go of them. There we go. Because I can breathe now. I'm like, because I want to explain this so it makes it easier to untangle. You won't struggle with it as much when you kind of get a different perspective of this. So it's kind of like, how I perceive it is, one being says, you know, this thing about, let me give an example, like this thing about raping other people, abusing other people sexually, like, I don't get that. Like I want to understand that. But then, and so they take that on as a really strong exploration in some lifetime. And by the end of their lifetime, they start to realize that they're not as far as they want to go, and it's going to take longer to continue this. And so what they do is they ask their children, will you, energetically, will you continue this legacy? Will you continue this quest to untangle or resolve or figure out or understand this rape, forcing sex thing? And if they agree to it, they bind themselves into this lineage agreement. It's a topical agreement to explore certain focuses, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And so what happens is then the children take that on, and their children take that on, and often they'll reincarnate again. So the grandparent now goes out, and they come back in as a child, so they can continue on this research, and they can keep. So it's like a chain of exploration, and most families will take packages of topics that they have. So you'll notice there's a lot of dysfunctions, quote unquote, or focuses that a family will take on, and they'll just keep, like, you know, my father did that, and his father did that, and his father's father did that, and so I have to do that too. And there's this continuation theme. That's the energy of a lineage agreement. It's just a focus that is continued on over a long period of time, and so it gets bound into one of these agreements. A secured or bonded agreement of some kind, but it's grabbing a whole group of people. Okay, does this kind of ring a bit more now? Like, do you get the context of this now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That gets into the DNA too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it gets coded into the DNA. Absolutely. And you can change and rewrite that totally. Like, DNA is just like the storage container of where things are now for your being or for your physical body. And you rewrite that constantly. Science finally figured that out. It's like, yay, science, they figured it out. I'm sorry, I don't mean to pick on science. They're very nice people. Yes, I do. I love picking on science. Anyway, I digress. I'm defending for or against, aren't I? Let that go. So here's how we handle lineage agreements. So tap back into all of your lineage agreements that you have. Or if you'd like to tap into one, let's do one. I'm sorry, put all those away. Let's do one. Just grab one so you can perceive it more, you can get more of what's going on in the group energy here. So pick one lineage agreement that you'd like to work with. The strongest, let's say, call up the strongest binding lineage agreement that you have. The one that messes with you the most in your life right now. Whatever's messing with you the most, call that up. The one that you are most ready to let go of. Call that one out. Let's do it. There you go. Okay? And put that out in front of you. Like you could put it on your screen if you want, or put it out in front of you. And allow yourself to perceive the span. Like I almost perceive it as like this cord or cable or chain. And you perceive it however you perceive it. And I can perceive it going from one span of time to another span of time. And it kind of gets invisible in either side. That's how I perceive it. But again, there's no right or wrong way. And you don't have to perceive any of this. But just perceive it however you perceive it. And here's how we do this. So allow yourself to expand out to the Beyondiverse. And everything that these lineages desire or require for completion or resolution of all of these things, allow yourself to grab all of those energies, all the answers. Like they're looking to solve a problem. They're looking to unravel some mystery, to figure out something usually, and they're just looking for that information. So often it's just an energy or information. So grab that energy or information, amplify it times the godzillion to the godzillion power, enough for everybody on this lineage chain. Frequency match it for all the recipients and provide it to the lineage chain. Wow. 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 Some shifting going on there. Wow. And again, everything that these lineage chains desire require, allow yourself to perceive all that information energy, amplify it, ask it to amplify times the godzillion, frequency match it, and provide it. Wow. Wow. And for the third one, I often do it slightly different. I bring it in to me. I receive it on behalf of the lineage, and then I allow those energies to percolate out through me and go to everybody else. So you can do it any way you want. You can do it 4 times and do it whatever. That's how I'll do it. So expand back out. Allow yourself to perceive everything these lineage chains desire or require. Ask those energies to amplify themselves times the godzillion to the godzillion power. Frequency match them for all the recipients. And bring them into your body and your being. And receive them on behalf of your lineage. And just let it go up, back through you, into that lineage chain. And receive it all. And just let it go out. And how it shows up in my awareness is it gets quieter, and it seems like the Christmas lights of the different people who are hanging on the lineage chain pop off. I see like this bright light, and they pop off because they're no longer bonded to that chain. And I'll keep giving energies until that whole chain is clear. And at this, when I tap in right now, I feel still a little bit there. So I'm going to run it one more time. So allow yourself to expand out and perceive one last time everything that these lineage chains desire, require. Wow. Ask all those energies to amplify themselves times a gazillion. Frequency match them for all the recipients. And provide it to the lineage chain. Wow. And what do you notice?
I believe I can fly.
I perceived that the chain disappeared.
Yeah, it does. That's how I perceive it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Because what if that chain is a symbolic representation? And that's what it is. It's just like a symbolic representation of that lineage agreement or that bind. And once you've cleared the bind, it's gone. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Jaden.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else? Success or unsuccess, however you perceive it?
Feels so quiet now, so peaceful.
Isn't it cool? Yeah. You know, it's the thing that Access Consciousness always talks about. It's like, what if 98% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't actually belong to you? Hey, guess where some of these come from? You know, you wonder, how do you keep picking up all this crap over and over and over and over again? If you are bonded or bound to all these beings through these commitments, through these agreements, there's connections. That's those family connections. Those binds that are stronger than blood, or how do they word that? It's stronger than what, you know, family is stronger than whatever. It's like, ooh, that's my reaction. It's like, what if that is the description of those lineage agreements that bind people together? Wow. And what would your family be like if it was freed, or if it no longer had any of those agreements? So let's explore with that. Allow yourself to perceive all. Now, so you've got this family that you came with, the one from this lifetime, and the family from the lifetime before that, and 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 the lifetimes in the future, and all the lifetimes and all the futures after that. Hello? Like, expand out to all that is, and beyond that, beyond that, beyond that, beyond that, beyond that, and beyond the verse, and beyond the verse, and beyond the verse, and beyond the verse, and beyond the verse. And allow yourself to perceive all lineage agreements that you have, or whatever they're called, all the binds, the bonds that bind you to families or chains of individuals that are currently impacting or affecting you across all time, space, dimensions, realities, beyonds. Let's do all of them. Why not? We're infinite beings. We can do all of them. And allow yourself to perceive all of those. Put all of those up on your screen, or just allow yourself to perceive them all as they are. Like, to me, it's this big, almost tangled spider web is kind of how I perceive it. But like, whatever you get is what you get. There's no wrong answer. And now expand out to the beyond verse, and allow yourself to perceive everything that these beings, these lineages, these families, these chains desire, require for their precise completion or resolution. And just grab all of that information and amplify it times a godzillion. Frequency match it for the beings who it's going to go to. And you don't need to know that. All that is knows that. You just ask for it and it does that. And then provide it. There you go. Yeah. 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 Wow. And again, all the energies that you desire or that these lineages desire or require. Allow yourself to perceive all that information. And amplify it times a godzillion. Ask it to amplify. Ask it to frequency match. And provide it to all those lineage agreements, all those chains, across all time, space, dimensions, realities, beyonds. Let them all receive it. You're an infinite being. You can have all of you doing it for all of these lineages. Wow. And again, allow yourself to be, know, perceive, and receive everything. I don't know where that came from. Just allow yourself to receive. That's the word I was looking for. I was scanning for that word. Allow yourself to receive what is everything that these agreements desire or require. And bring all those energies together. Amplify, ask them to amplify. Ask them to frequency match for the recipients. And provide it. Wow. And seeing we're on such a big scale, I'm going to do a couple more for you to receive. And you may be like really blown out by the time we do this. You may need to take a nap, whatever. Just whatever you do to integrate, be okay with it. Just allow yourself to receive. By the way, the more you practice receiving, the easier it gets. It really does. But yeah, this is going to be interesting because this is a lot of information. And what if an infinite being can receive infinite amounts of information instantaneously, and it's not a big deal? Everything that makes receiving information a really big deal, can we just let all that go?
Yes.
Yeah, just let that go. Just let that go. There you go. Yeah. And so allow yourself to perceive everything that these lineage chains desire, require, whatever's left. And ask those energies to amplify themselves times a godzillion. Ask them to frequency match for all the recipients. And bring them into your body and your being. And just allow yourself to receive this effortlessly. Nice. Nice. Wow. And again, everything these agreements desire, require, amplify, frequency match, and gift it to you. And receive. And one last time. Everything these remaining, and there's not a lot remaining, desire, require, grab all those, coalesce all those energies together, amplify, frequency match, and gift to you. Just receive that. Wow. And the other thing that I became aware of some time back is that somewhere around 2012, all of the lineage agreements, at least from this planet, became null and void. That's my interesting point of view. Your mileage may vary. See if that feels light to you. And what I noticed as I work with these lineage agreements is that not everyone, like I'll do these contributions, or no, let me say, while they're all null and void, most people don't know what to do with that, so they've been marching along as if nothing's happened. It's like the original goal. What if the original goal was to simply grab information and learn, and once we had the answer, we would be able to resolve the chain and it would all be very natural? What if the dominance and control system found they could use these chains to support their process? And what if we can now just release all of those? Because we've cleared the original intention, we've cleared all the energies that needed to be resolved, and we can just let these go. So Truth, will you now just let go and release all of the lineage agreements that you have that bind you to other members, other family, other people, other groups, other civilizations, other races?
Yes.
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 And just intend to let that go.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Just intend to let that go. I love the echo. I promised somebody that I wouldn't use the access consciousness clearing statement, and so I figured, well, why not? Let's try that. And do you notice you can just let it go? And feel free to use whatever clearing statement you have. It doesn't matter. It's not a wrongness. It's just notice there are other options. So how do you feel, or what do you perceive now related to lineages, your family? How does your family feel different to you? What does this bring up? Share.
What family?
I love it. Family? Well, I didn't understand.
Family? I have a family? Really?
I love it.
Awesome. That's cool. Thank you, Jaden.
You're welcome. Anybody else? What do you notice?
I'm free.
Yeah.
I feel very free and free to have everybody as my family. That's the best thing ever.
Yeah. Because I hear other people that I've worked with, they have these fears about, well, like, I can't let go of my family. I couldn't, which is really just all that's causing that. But once you let go of the binds, you're actually more easy flowing with your family. Like instead of being locked into these paradigms of interaction, you're free to interact more as infinite beings. And it'd be interesting to watch what your family goes through as they integrate these energies and they receive it. I've had people come back to me and they're like, whoa, my whole family changed. I thought you were just making this shit up. And I'm like, well, I am making this shit up, but yes, your whole family changed. like, what if this playing in consciousness that we do actually does stuff? How cool is that? Anybody else have something what are you experiencing?
Well, Jaden, I heard this huge voice of freedom.
Yay! I love it. Yes. Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, this is Nicole. There are still some structures left. Can we destroy them?
Yeah. So, do they want to be cleared by contributions, or do they want to be cleared by clearing?
Clearing.
Yeah. So all of the old structures, and so sometimes you get a lot of stuff built up, and you get a couple layers of things that I commonly go back and look at. I look for structures like concrete pillars, foundations, just all of these like structures that were holding all of this garbage in place, or supporting it so that the crushing weight wouldn't crush you, or whatever it is. So allow yourself to perceive all the structures that are left. There you go. And allow yourself to perceive all of the, I call it like jetsam and flotsam, like the garbage that just collected around all of these things, that just, it's not meaningful, it's just stuff that washed ashore and landed there. All the jetsam and flotsam. And all of the, again, I'll use access consciousness, Shikyu, stupidity, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog that you have around all of this. It's like everything you've done to hide this from your awareness so that you couldn't perceive it. And everything, all of that is, Truth, will you destroy and create your attachment to it all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And just intend to let it go. And another thing that I work with more on my private clients, but I'll just kind of throw in here, is when you're releasing things, sometimes there's like this little voice in the back of your head that goes, oh, I don't know if I can let that go. And so what if that's not you? What if that's the mind matrix or supermind or something else, or entities or other whatever, it's stuff, and you can just choose it. So another thing that I've been doing, that I do with my clients, is I'll go, when they go, let it go, will you let it go? And they go, yes. And say, yes, I choose this, or I choose to let this go. So try to say that. Yeah, not try, but say that. I choose to let this go.
I choose to let that go.
So when you get those little voices that are like, oh, but I can't let those go, you can either honor the voice, or you can, as the infinite being, make a choice that's different than that voice and just go, no, I choose to let this go. What if it's that simple? What if ultimately you get down to the bottom of it, like Gary Douglas says, it's just a choice. You can just choose it. So that's another tool that you can stick in is, yes, I choose this. Cool. How did that help? Letting stuff? Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else?
Jaden, can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Nura? I can.
Okay, great. That was really cool, especially the lineage part. And I felt lighter and then really, really heavier. Right now, like I just accessed a new sphere of despair or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe that's like where. Okay.
So, who does that belong to? Use our favorite access tool. Who does that belong to? You? Someone else? Something else?
I'm not able to know. I don't know.
So see which is lighter, because so do you choose to know? Do you want to know? Yes.
Yes.
Do you choose to know?
Yes.
So say, I choose to know this.
I choose to know this.
And actually allow yourself to choose that. I choose to know this. Say that again. I choose to know this. Try it again.
Okay.
I choose to know this.
I choose to know this.
Yeah. And everything that's in the way of your feeling like you have the right or capacity to choose this, can we just destroy and create all that?
Yes.
Yeah. Just let all that go.
Wow, it's like there's so much I don't want to know.
Yeah. But you can choose it. You can choose it. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So who does this stuff belong to? You, someone else, something else?
Someone else, many other people.
Yeah. Can we return that to the many other people?
Yes.
Yes. And just send that off. And you're just choosing to let go of that. So was that some other civilization kind of throwing back the stuff at you and saying, no, like rejecting it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't feel like it was from this planet. It felt like it was from some other star system somewhere else.
Okay.
And it was just old, heavy energy. So It's just stuff. It's just interesting. Yeah. You just return it to senders. Like you can take on their perspective and own it as real and true for you, or you can choose something different. You might also sit with them, sit with that energy, and see if it requires more contribution. So does this group require more contribution of some kind?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So what you can do is just, I'm not going to do it with the whole group here, but just take that one energy and expand out and everything they desire, require, and just keep doing those contributions. It's just a matter of giving them everything they require, and as an infinite being, you have access to all of it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if it brings up like scary feelings and feelings like I'm gonna be crushed or something, that's just tough.
That's those agreements. Those are those armored agreements.
Mm-hmm.
Or the enforced agreements. Does that feel light when I say that?
Yes, and there's something else there.
Okay. So it's like you have eons of story there. So, right, do you feel this fear here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is this fear or is this excitement? And it could be both.
This is the thrill of what will be when I let that go.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, but if you see it as fear, then you cower from it. But if you see it as the excitement, it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't belong to me.
Yeah. Nice awareness. Yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Cool. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else have something? Okay. So, I have one more hand up here. So, Petra, did you have something?
I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
That was amazing.
You're so welcome.
Honestly.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, what if all of these... Now, let me go back here. Yeah, let's go to this screen here. Turn your video screen on again. So, there are some things that require... or that use the energy of clearing, which to me is a more masculine energy, though it doesn't have to be masculine. But it's more like I'm destroying and uncreating. So the opposite of that is what I commonly think of as more of a feminine. It's a contribution. So, like, if you can't clear something with one energy, try something different. So one of the invitations that I have for you is I've explored with a variety of things, and I found the things that I've shared with you today. There are other topics that are best cleared, or in some cases only cleared potentially, with this feminine contribution energy. And I love when somebody said earlier, it's like, wow, I feel like God. Well, yeah, like as you like really step into your infinite being and you see, look, it's all just energy. And when I expand out that big, I'm one with all that energy. And I can just ask the energy to co-create with me and ask it to amplify and ask it to frequency and ask it to go over there and hang out with those people because it's what they require. And it resolves something. And I've just co-created with other energies in the universe by asking them if they would dance with me. Like, how beautiful is that? And how infinite is that? And how simple is that? So there are times where we make this whole clearing thing so complicated. And what if sometimes when things like are impossible, it's impossible to clear? It requires a contribution. It requires a different kind of energy. And so my invitation to you is explore with some of these different kinds of energies, or this other style, and see if it shifts things in your reality. In the clients that I've worked with over the years, it's actually possible. And I want to give this to you in a frame. Like, what if it's actually possible to get yourself out of everything that makes you feel heavy, everything that constrains you, and everything that limits you, bar nothing? What if it's possible to totally step into your potency as an infinite being, to bring your gifts and abilities, to bring your talents back online, to stand in those, to own those, to claim those, and to be those? What if that's possible right here, right now? My invitation to you is to keep asking questions, to keep exploring, and if one thing doesn't work, try something else. Try contributions, try something different. The more I do this stuff, the more awarenesses I get. Like, I can see all these different constructs, and once you allow yourself to perceive these things, as you perceive more and perceive more, and when I started out, I couldn't perceive shit. I really couldn't. I couldn't feel stuff. I couldn't see stuff. I didn't get stuff. I just piece by piece kept asking questions and kept expanding and kept clearing and asking questions and clearing. And I kept getting more and getting more and getting more. And to the point where today, there doesn't feel like there's a limit to it. It's just, what question do I want to ask? And then I receive that, and then I know. There's nothing hard or complicated about it. What if it can be that easy? What if it can be that simple? And I had experienced that for me, and I untangled my life in that way, and I thought, okay, well, maybe it's because I'm special or something, I don't know, and I just have this ability to do this. But as I work with other people, no. What if we all have this ability to do this? And what if we're here waking up so that we can share this with other people, so that we can support other people in doing this same process and becoming aware of the infinite being that they truly be as well? What if it's all really, 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 really simple, and it doesn't need to be hard and it doesn't need to be complicated? So that's my invitation. When you expand out to your infinite being, do you notice it's not hard? It's not complicated. So if you're making it hard and you're making it complicated and it's getting heavy, you're probably looking at it in a way that's not true. What else is possible? Just look for other ways to explore those energies. So that's kind of the bottom line of that. I think I've done all the lineage agreements. So kind of in wrapping up mode for the Releasing Tangled Agreements series is, come on, wait for my computer to catch up here, is when you have energies that feel hopeless, what if hopeless simply means that it's a tangled agreement that keeps reinstalling something? So for those of you who've been part of this program, the first two parts of this program I recorded in May, called Tangled Agreements 1 and 2. If you haven't heard those two programs, you can purchase those at my website. The address is jaden-fox.com/RTA, Releasing Tangled Agreements, and it'll take you to the cart. I have it half off right now for this group. So if you're interested, a lot of you were in this already. Don't buy it because you already downloaded it. So if you took this in May, you already have this, you already have it, so you're all set. If this is new to you, if you've just been finding me recently, you may want these two programs. So anything in your life that feels the energy of hopeless, go back to these two programs and go through those ways of clearing, and you'll untangle those and you can clear those. Like, they're really not hopeless. What if hopeless is simply the energy of something that is tangled? What if hopeless equals tangled, period? Like, it's that simple. And you just use those tools and you clear all the hopeless stuff. Like, hopelessness is gone from my life. It's just gone. And it used to be like everything there was only hopelessness in my life for a while. So it took a while to clear that. So once you clear all that, like, it's different. Now, then I had impossible stuff. This is impossible. The stuff we covered today seems to clear, at least in my reality. Your mileage may vary, explore with it. It clears all the impossible stuff. So for me, it's just anything, if it registers as hopeless, I use those tools, the first 2 programs. If it registers as impossible, I do the stuff we did today. And that's it, and it goes away. So I look at the energy of hopeless and impossible not as real and true, but as an indicator of what tools to use to actually clear them. So, and I'll send you a link with the replay. I'll send out a replay of this, by the way, too. Feel free to forward it to your friends, share it all you like. This is such cool stuff, and what would this world be like if more people found this much ease with their families and with their agreements and such. So feel free to share all this stuff. Then the last thing that I want to kind of drop in here is I have currently 2 openings for people. If you're in a space where you feel like you're stalled and you're not moving as fast as you'd like to, and you feel tangled or confused, but you know there's a way out. You know there's a way out, and you're ready to dump everything that stands in your way. You just don't care anymore. You're ready to let go of all of this, and you know now is the time. You're done waiting. Send me an email and we'll connect, and I'll do a free session with you, and we'll see if coaching with me is a match for both of us. It's amazing what we can change in a 4 or 5 month period of time of weekly coaching sessions. It's absolutely amazing. The tools that come through and show up and the shifts that we have are just like out of this world. So that's my little sales pitch for future connections with me. Questions? Any last questions on releasing curses, binds, lineage agreements? Any of the stuff we talked about today, or yeah.
Aidan, this is Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi. I don't really have a question, but I just so appreciate the idea of that there are that there's different ways to look at it, and I just sometimes really just need that reminder that I would get more into the pushing away, clearing, get rid of stuff, and not even thinking about that it may require something, that it may need a contribution. Yeah. So this is just, thank you so much for that, because that just brings a whole new, it's like the polar opposite. So you have this side, and then, wow, there's a whole new thing over here. That
right.
I just feel so relaxed.
Yeah.
And so much. Wow, I mean, this is just really powerful stuff, and it was so easy. I mean,
isn't it cool?
I'm always with the, it's always, it's always some kind of a struggle or something. And when you were doing the lineage things, that's what came up. That was the first one that came up, was that somebody decided they wanted to know about struggle, and so that's been going on for a long time. And I just felt a huge release about. It is, things are easy. It is not a struggle, and just like that letting go, I have to be totally reminded that you just open your hands and you can just let it go. It doesn't have to be this sticky glue stuff that just won't let go.
Yeah.
I so appreciate this, and this is the timing on this class was just perfect. So cool. As always,
cool.
And thank you so much. I just love it. I will go back and listen to the first 2 as well, because
awesome.
I like the idea that the impossible and the hopeless, because there's some stuff that I could see where I could go back and do this. Thank you so much for this class and the other 2. This is just
You're
wonderful
so welcome.
Stuff.
You're so welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, Sherry.
Hi.
Hi, I don't have a question as much as I just want to say I appreciate you and thank you.
You're welcome.
And for anyone that hasn't done your Tangled Agreement other classes, they really should get one.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, they're life-changing. They're absolutely life-changing. Yeah.
Thank you for you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And there was another voice in there?
Yeah, my name is Adon.
Hi.
Yes, I'm calling from San Diego, California.
Hi.
And my question is regarding if you are an infinite being, a walk-in into the body, and there is the electromagnetic component of the previous occupants.
Mm-hmm.
How would you do releasing tangled agreements?
Yeah, well, previous occupants gets kind of interesting, but I want to share something really cool. That this is another place. Thank you for reminding me with that. Another place I use this tool is actually on previous occupants. I recognized that so releasing previous occupants that are still in your body is at a core level as simple as finding out what the benefit or value is of having, what the benefit or value was of having that being in your body with you. And it may be old information from another lifetime or from another being or another layer or whatever, but it's just finding what those are and clearing those. But then sometimes, I cleared them from my body, but then they were entities walking around out here in the world, and they kept coming back and pestering me. There was something unresolved, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And one of the things that I did that I absolutely love to do is, and I've done it with parallel versions, and I don't want to get too complicated, but so if you have a previous occupant who keeps coming back, what you can do is give them a contribution of everything they desire or require. So what I'll do is I'll ask, they'll come back as an entity, and I imagine you could do entity clearing this way too. So you could have the being go sit in the chair over there or go stand out in front of you, and then what is everything that this occupant desires or requires in order for them to be whole, perfect, and complete, or to cross over with ease, or to become an infinite being, or whatever feels appropriate for that being. And everything that is, everything they desire, require, amplify it, frequency match it, and I gift it to them. Everything they desire, require, amplify, frequency match. I do that 3 times, and I actually perceive them every time they get more energetic, and they become this ball of love and light, and they just kind of expand into all that is. It's actually very beautiful. It's one of the more beautiful ways that I release beings when I'm clearing. Often I do actually with previous occupants. So that's something that you might want to play with that.
Okay. Infinite gratitude for the gift that you be.
Yeah, yeah. And it's actually, it's everything that they desire or require for resolution or completion or whatever feels appropriate, but it's they have some story about why they're in the situation they're in, and you kind of want to give them the whole, and now you know the rest of the story. You want to give them the bigger picture, and then they pop out of that story and they become infinite again. That's been my experience. What about the body? What about the body?
Everything that is being restored in the body from previous occupants.
So you want to release that?
Exactly.
Everything, all of the baggage, magnetic imprinting, chemical, electrical imprinting, all of the gifts and abilities. I see people trap previous occupants in their body by holding on to gifts and abilities, thinking that this is really good. Someday I'll be able to use this, but it's actually kind of a catch-22 because it requires their frequency. It's their gift. And you're kind of stealing it. I had some occupants that kept coming back because I was holding on to their gifts, and they kept coming back demanding them back. They're like, I need that. And I'm like, no, I want to play with it. Go away. They're like, and they come back, and it's like, go away. And they come back, go away. And I ultimately gave it to them, and they went away, and it was fine. And then my life got easier. Because what if everything that you trap in your body and you claim and own as yours, but I can't quite make it work or I can't quite figure it out, binds you to limitation. When you're an infinite being, you have everything you require. There is nothing missing. There's nothing to figure out. It's all right there. So my recommendation, my interesting point of view, and the way I work with people, it's one of the things I do a lot, is clearing previous occupants. You need to clear all the baggage, everything. It's like you're moving into a new house. What if your body is the house? Clear the house out totally of everything. But I love that couch. They had a really nice couch. I know, out. Out. Clear the house. It's your body. Clear the space for all of your frequency to come into your house. Clear out all the previous occupants' frequencies. That's my interesting point of view.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And everyone in the call too.
Yeah. Thank you. Any last questions? Okay, then I will wrap up with that. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging with me today and playing with my cool toys. And I'm constantly coming up with, like I've got more cool toys than I have time to teach them all. But there are some that just called to me like, let's teach this now. I'm like, okay, cool. So this potency series, stay connected to it. This is my free series for bringing out new stuff, which ultimately turns into product and then people pay for it. So stay with it. Get it while it's free. Thank you all for participating. Thank you for co-creating with me here today. It was so beautiful to connect with all of your energies and to feel so much releasing and so much space. Think of all of the beings that you released today from all of those lineage binds. And what if you're not the only being who got space today? What if your family and other families you don't even know you have families got space today too? So definitely gratitudes to you for the courage to do all of this and actually do that releasing and set all of those beings free. How beautiful is that?
How about a big wahoo?
Yeah. So let's do. We'll do a 1, 2, 3, and everybody who would like to unmute yourself if you've got yourself muted. And one. Let's do a wahoo. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wahoo!
Wahoo! Wahoo!
Yay!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a way to go into the holiday season of Christmas, Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate. Kwanzaa.
So thank you all. Aloha. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Bye.